The new Tears of the Kingdom trailer just dropped and it absolutely stunned everyone. Plus, it gave us a lot of things to analyze. So in this video I want to point out the important things from the trailer that you might have missed. I'm only gonna focus on these things and not overanalyze every frame that is new, like for example the new structure above Kakariko. That is cool and all, but it's just a structure that fell from the sky. There are way more important things here to cover, so I will segment this into story details, gameplay and something extra at the end. So before we jump into this video, just a quick reminder that this is a very new and small channel, so if you enjoy anything I have to say in this video, don't forget to comment, like and subscribe. Thank you very much. Let's get started with the important story stuff that can be missed. We finally know what the Tears of the Kingdom are. We see Zelda clearly have one in this shot, but not only that, we see Sidon, Riju and Tulin, that's Teba's son by the way, also have a tear, as well as Ganondorf. They all have different colors and symbols on them as well, and get this, Zelda has the tear with the symbol for recall. Yes, the recall ability that Link uses in the gameplay demonstration. And not only that, I did an analysis about Link's different abilities about a week ago, and there I figured out that there should be way more symbols already confirmed. Now we know they come from the actual tears and we actually see them. Sidon has a tear with one of the symbols I discovered, as well as Tulin with the green tear having another one of the symbols. So does this mean Link doesn't get to use these new abilities at all and just the champions do? Well, let's stay with the champions for a bit because we actually see more of the champions. We see a Goron weapon in this scene. This might confirm Yunobo is back, but this could also be a completely different Goron, seeing how they replaced Teba as the champion as well. Well, hopefully Teba is okay because we know he actually acts kind of reckless. Also, another important detail for the champions is that they team up with Link together in certain story events. They somehow glow with this Zonai energy that maybe powers them up somehow. But the question still remains if Link gets their powers later on or not. So let's count the tiers. We have 4 champions all having a tier. Ganondorf has one that we will probably not get until the end of the game. And then there's this mysterious character talking to Zelda that has one. And of course Zelda has a tier. This would make 7. That's exactly how many we see in the mural depicted in the trailers. There's another important part that I will throw in right now that you should keep in mind. This new mysterious character has also the same tier as Zelda has. And we can pretty much confirm that these are unique stones, so it's definitely the same stone. And now that we were talking about the mural, let's talk about this mysterious figure that is talking to Zelda right here. This is most definitely the Zonai goat we see in this trailer. His attire is very Zonai-esque, but he also has a similar looking hand to Link's right hand right now. Could his hand and Link's hand somehow be connected to all of this? Or is this just coincidence and all Zonai arms just have long nails? This might actually be the hand that grabs Link in the old trailers and gives him the Zonai powers, but how can this be the same person, you ask? Well, first let's take a closer look at Zelda herself. We finally have confirmation that she is alive, but something is very strange if you pay attention to the voice lines. But first of all, when she falls, we can actually see her glow now when we couldn't in the old trailers. But if you look even closer, on the top of her hand the Triforce is actually glowing as well. So the Triforce somehow saved her. But how? By teleporting or something crazier like time travel? I don't actually want to throw out the theory that this is a completely different timeline, but when you actually listen to her words, you will notice that she is not in the same Hyrule anymore. At the end of the trailers, she says, "Link, please find me," while holding the Master Sword. She's on some kind of altar, but in the background we can actually see Breath of the Wild's Hyrule. So why wouldn't Link be able to find her? And how does she have the Master Sword when we see Link has the Master Sword in old trailers as well? Well, in the same scene she actually says that there is something only she can do while holding the tear that Link will actually get later. So theory 1 is that she's in a different timeline or parallel world, maybe where Link can't find her now. In the second Tears of the Kingdom trailer, we actually see a ghostly figure reach the hand to Link. Well, now we know this is Zelda. She looks exactly like her, outfit and all. So she communicates with Link throughout different means. That can also explain how the Zonai arm could be connected to the goat. Timeline or different realms would explain it. Theory 2 is something that I don't want to see, but I have to say it. All of these Zelda scenes could make perfect sense if they were happening after she fell in the cave and before Link recovered from his malice incident. We know Tears of the Kingdom takes place a few years after Breath of the Wild because Riju and Tulin grew up. So during that time, Zelda could have been prepping for Link's return. That explains why she has the tear and the Master Sword still. And her saying, "I hope you can find me," just means that she will go into hiding from Ganondorf right now. There's also an important line that was slightly changed in the English version. When the goat was talking to Zelda, he said,
"Our last line of defense will be Link."
But if you listen closely to the other languages like German, French and Japanese, he says something like, "If we fail, Link is our last hope," implying that they will do something and then fall back to Link if it fails. Listen, I don't want to say this out loud, but what if the story for Zelda is told in memories again? I really hope not. A few last things. In this scene, we see a fully restored Master Sword in the Korok forest and Link's right hand is not burned and replaced. So chronologically, this puts this scene before the events of Tears of the Kingdom or afterwards, when everything is fine again. But it somehow doesn't make sense to place it back into the forest and pick it back up again when we see him have the sword after Breath of the Wild still. So maybe this is just a flashback, but the cutscene and animation is completely new, so who knows. Last thing for the story, let's talk about Daddy. Last thing for the story, let's talk about Ganondorf's new design. He reminds me a lot of Wind Waker Ganondorf with his new attire and style, who is peak Ganondorf, so I really have high hopes. But he now looks more like a samurai with a top knot and a samurai gear, and he also has a cool katana. Absolutely crazy design and my favorite by far. We see him earlier here as well. I know a lot of people are saying that this could be the mice because he clearly looks like the mice, and this theory has been here since the first teaser that Breath of the Wild will get a sequel. But if you look closer, he still has the same outfit on as Ganondorf. That doesn't prove that that is Ganondorf, but I still believe this to be Ganondorf dehydrated, reawakened, or hydrated max power, who knows. Then when he lets the castle fly in the sky, we actually see the Sky Island rocks drop from the sky as well. So in a sense, he's the reason we can see the Sky Island somehow again. This new girl could be Zelda's relative from the past or from a different world, because who knows at this point. She could also be closely related to Hylia, by which I mean she could be Hylia, which would have big ties into Skyward Sword and would also make the demise theory stronger, so hey, who knows. But talking about stronger, she actually key blasts the living spark out of these Moldugas, so I gotta ask, who would win in a fight? She or Goku? Okay, let's switch over to gameplay parts and things I can point out. Let's start with the most important word. Dungeons, baby! I think. Well, I did say all I wanted is a teaser, so that's what I get, I guess. We see a structure coming out of the sand, and I mean, come on. This has to be a dungeon. People say it's Arbiter's Ground, which was also a dungeon, so I mean, I'm counting on that. This has to be a dungeon. But don't worry, there's more evidence. The Zonai Golem is without a doubt a dungeon boss at the end of a dungeon. And he also reminds me a lot of the boss fight in Wind Waker in the Tower of the Gods. Then there are also these sections where you have Sidon, Tulin and maybe other champions helping you in what looks to be an open air dungeon scenario. Kinda like Wind Waker as well, where you had to take Medley and Makar to the dungeons with you. I don't think this would be made for multiplayer, but imagine. Next up is something that I also think could be a dungeon. Listen, hear me out. This big lava cave just looks like a massive cave under Death Mountain, right? But if you look closely, they have Zonai architecture installed all over the place, like these lamps here. So I don't know if this whole structure is in the sky or really under the earth, but all I can say is that it definitely looks tailor-made to be a dungeon. Then in this scene we have this glowing entrance looking thing. You can barely make it out, but this is one of these swirly stone structures that people have been calling the new shrines since the last trailer now. And now we can pretty much confirm it. The door will take you to a new shrine-like location. Honestly though, throughout this and every other trailer, we saw nothing that looked like it could be an isolated shrine like it was in Breath of the Wild. So maybe they just warp you to Sky Islands that you couldn't get otherwise to have shrine-like puzzles. but maybe there are Zonai like shrines that we haven't seen in any of the trailers yet. This scene is actually above Hebra Mountain near the Rito village because of the giant tornado we see in the background. Those actually look like Rito ships to me, and we even see Link uses one of them as a trampoline to reach higher up. Next up is this scene that is actually very easy to understand but also very easy to miss. This is clearly Sheikah technology like we see in Breath of the Wild. This is one of the distant towers that replace the old Sheikah towers. So we will use an elevator to get up there and get the complete map. So in the new trailer we see Link is wired to this new Sheikah slate that Zelda was holding in her artwork. So sadly, no Zelda Sheikah slate action. But if we go back to the other scene, the same wire reel can be seen here as well. So let's talk about Link's new abilities, because even though we don't know if he gets the rest of the champion tiers, we at least see one new ability, the low gravity one. It is actually strange because in this clip it doesn't look like time was actually slowed down, but Link moves really slow here, like it's anti-gravity, right? But in an earlier scene where we see Link make the exact same jump, there's no slowdown here. So I don't know if this is just trailer magic happening here or something we don't understand, but we will see, I guess. And now that Link is swimming and wet, we can actually talk about the fact that he doesn't seem to be swimming up. So does this maybe confirm underwater exploration if Link can move freely in water? Maybe so. I have a few more quick bullet points here. So, if you wondered where this is, these are the Tefla ruins that were completely dark in Breath of the Wild and are not covered in darkness anymore. The walls in this labyrinth seem to come together in trying to squish Link. This scene is inside the ball structure we see right here as well. Here we see some kind of new Goron because he looks completely different in ball form, but when we actually zoom in, we can see he has a weapon in this frame and also some kind of symbol in this one. So Link actually fuses the rocket with his shield here, so I wonder what happens if you fuse your sword with the rocket. Hyrule Castle seems to be restored in this scene, which might help the different dimension timeline theory. The new Lionels all have crazy horns that you can get to fuse with your weapons. We see Link wearing some new outfits like this horn headwear right here, or whatever this is, but more importantly, have you noticed the sword here? Damn, it looks like some kind of magical dragon wing blade. This guy right here has a bucket for a helmet. I hope Link gets one as well. But we definitely see multiple scenes with NPCs helping a fight or Link carrying NPCs, so I wonder if there are new side quests for stuff like that. Korok Puzzles are back. Yes, we can actually see a log that activates the shooting minigame for Koroks over here, and also there's a new ad that showed stone circles are back. Oh boy, I hope there are 2000 Korok seeds this time around. But yeah, I think that's enough. I said I will only address the important stuff I noticed, so I kinda went overboard anyways. And because this analysis is not long enough, I will throw you some extra bone and point out some of the soundtrack leitmotifs that you might have missed. Well, the main Zelda theme was obviously hard to miss, and this transitions into the Breath of the Wild main theme. Afterwards, we can softly hear the Hyrule Castle theme when the castle is actually being lifted by Ganondorf. The next part sounds awfully familiar to the Twilight Princess main theme that has been used for many of its tracks as a leitmotif. But it changes drastically after the 5th note and transforms into something else. So now you can tell me if this is intentional or just a coincidence, but I feel like with the Zelda team there are no coincidences. And then we get 2 new renditions of Ganon's theme, with the last one transitioning to the main theme.
Do not look away. You witness a king's revival and the birth of his new world.
And in the end there's Zelda's lullaby. That was a lot, I'm exhausted. So quick outro, please subscribe if you liked anything I had to say, even if it was just Bucket Man. I will definitely do way more Zelda videos and other stuff, so thank you very much once again for supporting this channel, and also sub for Nia. Bye bye.